ジュン、私は。こいつこんな顔してたのか。なんなんだこれ、なんだこれ。
Welcome to Tomo-chan is a Girl. Tomo Aizawa, a tomboy, has been hopelessly in love with her childhood friend Junichiro Kubota. Despite her strong feelings, she has never had the courage to confess her love to him. One day, she decides to seek advice from her best friend Misuzu Gundo. Hoping to improve her chances with Junichiro, Tomo attempts to change the way she communicates with him. However, their conversation quickly turns into an argument, leaving Tomo feeling frustrated and defeated. Days pass, and the weather takes a turn for the worse. Junichiro and Misuzu forget to bring their umbrellas, and they both end up waiting for Tomo to walk them home. Tensions are high between Junichiro and Misuzu as their playful teasing turns into a heated exchange. Suddenly, in a fit of anger, Junichiro pushes Misuzu into the rain, leaving her drenched. Despite the uncomfortable situation, Tomo remains calm and suggests that they all walk home together. However, as they make their way down the street, Tomo can't help but notice Junichiro's protective behavior towards her. He comes dangerously close to getting himself wet just to shield her from the rain. However, as soon as Junichiro catches a glimpse of Tomo's soaked clothes, he too makes a run for it. Tomo is a regular attendee at the Boys Karate Club, a fact that earns her the admiration of the captain, Kosuke Misaki. In fact, he seems to be quite taken with her. One day, Tomo musters up the courage to ask for his advice, causing a flustered Kosuke to exclaim how charming she is. As the day goes on, two girls, Mifune and Ogawa, notice Kosuke and approach him after school. However, they quickly realize he's with Tomo and decide to talk to her instead. Unfortunately, Tomo misunderstands their intentions and assumes that they are there to challenge her to a fight. Thankfully, Misuzu steps in and explains the situation to Tomo, feeling relieved. The girls meet behind the gym to have a heart-to-heart talk. There, they reveal that they actually like Kosuke and ask for Tomo's help in winning him over. Excited at the prospect of being a matchmaker, Tomo readily agrees to help. With her outgoing personality and can-do attitude, it seems like she might just be the perfect person for the job. After Tomo experiences the traumatic incident of being groped by an old man on the bus, Junichiro comes to her aid by restraining the perpetrator. To prevent any such incidents from happening again, Junichiro kindly suggests that Tomo wear slacks instead of a skirt. However, when Tomo confides in Misuzu about her frustration, Misuzu takes the unique approach by confiscating Tomo's shorts after school. As a result, Tomo is left with no choice but to wear a skirt when walking home with Junichiro, causing her to feel incredibly self-conscious. Meanwhile, Junichiro tries his best not to stare at Tomo, fully aware of the sensitive situation. The next day, Misuzu is quick to pick up on Tomo's reaction and correctly guesses that Junichiro now sees her in a different light. Carol Olston, a well-liked English classmate, is quite popular with the boys in school. However, everything changes after Tomo coincidentally runs into Carol and Kosuke in the hallway. As a result, Carol begins to perceive Tomo as a potential rival for Kosuke's affections. In a surprising turn of events, Misuzu sends Carol to Junichiro for training, which motivates Tomo to take action and pursue Junichiro as well. Despite only knowing that Carol wants to train for a competition against an unnamed rival, Junichiro tries to help her by providing basic physical training. Tomo eventually confronts Junichiro, but Carol suddenly leaves without any explanation. After school, Carol takes Misuzu out to a pastry shop where Misuzu persuades her to reconcile with Tomo and become friends. The next day at school, Carol is taken aback when Tomo accepts her unconditionally. Later, Tomo is utterly astonished when Junichiro unintentionally reveals that he dated Misuzu in middle school. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What is the best comedy anime? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. When a furious Tomo confronts Misuzu, her heart is pounding in her chest with anger and confusion. Misuzu, on the other hand, seems calm and composed as she reveals that their relationship lasted a mere 3 days. Despite feeling hurt, Tomo tries to process the information and understand the situation. Later on, Tomo's mood brightens as Junichiro tells her he has no current love interest. With a smile on her face, she feels a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, something could happen between them. However, the next day, Junichiro's behavior takes a drastic turn when he meets Kosuke. Realizing that Kosuke is Tomo's senpai in the karate club, Junichiro treats him harshly out of jealousy. Tomo can sense the tension between them and feels uneasy. Later that day, as Junichiro and Kosuke ride the bus together, the latter discovers that despite being rough amongst themselves, Junichiro deeply admires Tomo. It's a small glimmer of hope for Kosuke, who wants to see his friend happy. However, Junichiro's jealousy gets the best of him again when he intimidates Kosuke the next day. Kosuke had attempted to tell Tomo about their conversation, but Junichiro intimidated him. In the cozy atmosphere of a bustling cafe, Misuzu leans in towards Tomo and eagerly suggests that she should take Junichiro out on a romantic date. Without hesitation, Junichiro jumps at the opportunity, causing Tomo to feel a rush of excitement and a hint of nervousness. Luckily, Misuzu and Carol come to the rescue, offering to help Tomo pick out the perfect outfit for the special occasion. As the sun rises on the day of the date, Tomo looks in the mirror and feels a sense of confidence wash over her, thanks to the support of her friends. She arrives at the agreed-upon meeting spot, her heart pounding with anticipation. The couple's usual spots, a battling cage and a bowling alley, are visited, but Tomo's desire for adventure leads her to suggest a detour to a karaoke box. Although nervous at first, Tomo summons the courage to grab the microphone and belt out a few tunes. Sadly, her song choices skew towards children's songs, eliciting giggles from her audience. Despite the initial embarrassment, Tomo feels a sense of pride in her newfound bravery. The following day, Tomo attempts to keep her karaoke experience under wraps, but Junichiro notices a new twinkle in her eye. As she relives the memories with Misuzu and Carol, Tomo decides to take the plunge once again and return to the karaoke box with her girlfriends. Before we continue, big shout out to Mendang Sanglir, who commented, "My opinion would be Kengan Ashura," when answering the question of the day on our Val X Love video. Great opinion. Tatsumi valiantly endeavors to bring a smile to Misuzu's face, despite her reluctance to cooperate. Meanwhile, Tomo yearns to display her playful side, like a girl, and starts embracing different girls in her class. Unfortunately, this only exacerbates Misuzu's jealousy as she watches Carol become increasingly possessive of Tomo. In a misguided attempt to replicate her actions, Tomo tries to hug Junichiro, but he perceives it as childish. As Junichiro arrives at Tomo's house to visit her, he is curious to learn more about her family. Meanwhile, over lunch with Misuzu, Carol generously gives Tomo her headband as a token of friendship. Soon after, Kosuke appears to offer support and encourage Misuzu to maintain her bond with Carol. Later that day, after school, Mifune and Ogawa approach Tomo for help in dealing with a creepy senior. Despite feeling hesitant at first, Tomo decides to assist her friends, and with her self-defense skills, she kicks the senior across the yard. However, the situation doesn't end there as the senior seeks revenge against Tomo. Fortunately, Junichiro overhears the senior's plans and decides to take action. Along with his friends, they beat up the senior, making him and his friends apologize to Tomo the next time they see her. Carol invites Tomo and Misuzu over to her sprawling mansion, which boasts a front yard resembling a labyrinth. Upon arrival, they meet Ferris, Carol's mother, who appears to be just as scatterbrained as her daughter. Despite her flightiness, Ferris senses that there may be ulterior motives behind Misuzu's visit. As they settle in, Carol effortlessly triumphs over both Tomo and Misuzu in a game of Othello. As midterm exams approach, Misuzu extends an invitation to Tomo and Carol to join her for a study session at her house. Upon arrival, the other girls are introduced to Misuzu's mother, Misaki, who bears a striking resemblance to her daughter. Initially, Misaki mistakes Tomo for her own mother, Akemi. As they prepare for the exams, Tomo finds Carol's explanations more comprehensible than Misuzu's methods. Following the exams, Tomo and Junichiro experience slight improvements in their scores. Carol playfully teases Mizuzu for finishing in second place as she achieved the highest score. Junichiro invites Tomo over to his house to play video games. Initially, Tomo feels excited but later realizes the implications of going to Junichiro's house overnight by herself. Despite her reservations, Mizuzu, Carol, and her parents all encourage Tomo to go ahead with the plan. During the night, Tomo grapples with conflicting emotions towards Junichiro. She tries to reconcile her new feelings for him with their established friendship. The next day at school, Tomo feels that their experience brought them closer together. Tomo is showered with an array of birthday gifts from her beloved friends. Following this, Mizuzu and Carol extend an invitation to Tomo to join them at Mizuzu's residence for a little makeover session. After the beauty session, they urge Tomo to buy ice cream at the nearest convenience store, while still adorned with the newfound glamour. Unfortunately, Tomo feels mortified after spotting Junichiro at the same store, causing her to stumble over her high heels on the way out. However, the ever-chivalrous Junichiro comes to her aid, and they both decide to stroll in a nearby park together. Interestingly, Junichiro remains oblivious to Tomo's identity, even though she responds to his subtle inquiries regarding their relationship. Eventually, Tomo heads back to Mizuzu's place and is pleasantly surprised to discover that they had prepared a surprise birthday bash for her. Tomo is getting ready for a school dodgeball tournament that's coming up soon. Due to her impressive strength, she's assigned to the boys' team, along with Junichiro. Together, they make their way to the finals and face off against Goma, a judo student who looks like a gorilla, and his team. They ultimately emerge victorious and claim the championship trophy. Later, Junichiro reflects on how much he admires Tomo. What wacky situations will our characters be thrown into next? Stay tuned for our next recap of Tomo-chan is a Girl. Like and subscribe.